What up? In this video, I'm going to be giving my thoughts on Ring of Honor's episodes on HDNet, episode 4, 5, 6, and 7. Just recently, earlier today, I just caught up with the last couple of Ring of Honor HDNet episodes I haven't watched yet. So overall, I did enjoy all 4 episodes. I'm going to kind of go through the episodes, my thoughts on them kind of quick, just because there's 4 episodes and I don't want to get too in-depth with them to make this. I'm going to try to make this video as short as I possibly can. And just kind of want to do a video today anyway, since it has been about, probably since the Backlash pay-per-view I've done a video. So just want to throw out a video there at the same time and want to get my thoughts on these shows. Overall, they were pretty enjoyable. Now let me start with episode number 4. Episode number 4, the opening matchup was Austin Aries versus Kenny Omega. And this is the one match on episode number 4 that is the main reason why I would say go check out episode number 4, is because of this match with Kenny Omega versus Austin Aries. A lot of good back and forth work with them. Really enjoyed this match. Good overall opener. Austin Aries picks up the victory after he hits a drop kick in the corner, then a kick to the head, then the brain buster to Kenny Omega. Very good, solid opener. I'm definitely glad to see Kenny Omega in Ring of Honor, and he's starting to get utilized a little more frequently in Ring of Honor, and Austin Aries did a very good job with this match. Both of them just put on a very good match, and by far the best match of episode number 4. And then after this, they went backstage with a promo for Jerry Lynn to kind of build up the Jerry Lynn versus Brodie Lee match. That's the main event of episode number 4. Then the next matchup was Dirty Ernie Osiris versus Delirious, and this was pretty much a squash match. Well, not really a complete squash match, because they did have Ernie Osiris get a little offense in there. And this Ernie Osiris gimmick that he's doing right now, that he's playing like a homeless guy, really don't have no problem with it, because he's pretty much like the bitch of the embassy. That's pretty much what role he's playing. And it's kind of a joke gimmick anyway. And as far as, the gimmicks like the Ernie Osiris, Dirty Ernie Osiris, where he's playing a bum, and then you got Mitch Franklin doing Grizzly Redwood. Really don't have no problem with those type of gimmicks, because even though they're kind of cheesy and a little corny type gimmicks, at least they're only really giving them to the students. And the students before these gimmicks really didn't have no personality at all. And at least now they have somewhat of a personality and some type of character to make it seem like they're at least worthy of being on these shows. Whereas before it's like, oh great, Ring of Honor students. Now at least they have a character. They might, as characters, I don't think really work that great in Ring of Honor, but they're using them more or less as jobbers anyway, so I don't really have too much of a problem with that. But it's probably characters that will work better in Shikara. Those type of gimmicks that probably would get over in that promotion a little more than Ring of Honor, but it's working out okay for them. It's better seeing them doing this than just coming out there as Ring of Honor students. Delirious picks up the victory after the Shadows over Hell. Then after this, they would go backstage to a Brodie Lee promo, just like Jerry Lynn's promo, pretty much building up to the Jerry Lynn versus Brodie Lee match for the main event. Brodie Lee really didn't do much talking in this promo backstage. Jimmy Jacobs did most of the talking for him. Then the next matchup was a women's tag team match, which was Sara Del Rey teaming up with Sassy Stephie versus Daizee, Haze, and Neveah. And this was a decent women's match. You got about 5 to 6 minutes. So for the time it was given, it was a little decent. Neveah and Daizee Haze, they worked pretty good together as a tag team in this match. And more or less on Sara Del Rey's side, her and Sassy Stephie, they did in a way where Sara Del Rey was pretty much berating her throughout the whole entire match, saying, you're not doing what you're supposed to do out here. And they really didn't coexist with each other that well in this match, so that's the way they did that. And the end of this match was Daizee Haze hitting the mind trip to Sassy Stephie for the victory, with Daizee Haze and Neveah picking the victory up for their team. And this was, decent women's match, like I said. I wouldn't like to see Sassy Stephie again. She really didn't seem like she was that good at all in the ring, even though she kind of did work in the way where she was kind of not supposed to do that good, as far as, not working as good in the ring anyway. And Neveah, I gotta say, this is like the first time I've seen her, and she seemed like she might be pretty good. I wouldn't mind to see a little more of her. Then the main event was Brodie Lee versus Jerry Lynn, and this was out of the 4 episodes that I'm reviewing. Well, not only out of the 4 episodes I'm reviewing in this video, But out of all 7 of the first Ring of Honor HDNet episodes, this is by far the weakest main event. It wasn't a terrible and god-awful match. Jerry Lynn did his best to at least make it an overall watchable match. Jerry Lynn picks up the victory with a roll-up. And I would have much rather had them kind of switch it up, because episode number 5, the opening of episode number 5, had Jimmy Jacobs versus Necro Butcher against each other. Now, the ending of that match, maybe that's the reason why they didn't want to switch that up and put Jerry Lynn and Brodie Lee as the opener of episode 5 and Necro Butcher and Jimmy Jacobs as the main event of episode number 4, due to the fact that the match ended in disqualification. Jimmy Jacobs and Necro Butcher, they did pretty decent stuff with each other. It was about 5 to 6 minutes within the match. Necro Butcher goes outside of the ring. He gets a staple gun. Then the ref tries to stop him using it. Then Brodie Lee comes out there, attacks Necro Butcher, and then gets the match DQ'd, and Necro Butcher wins via disqualification. So maybe with that ending, maybe that's why they didn't want to have that as the main event. But I think that, even though both matches obviously made sense happening, especially with Necro Butcher and Jimmy Jacobs having, a sordid past with each other, and Brodie Lee and Jerry Lynn at least made sense, because on one of the previous episodes, Necro Butcher and Jerry Lynn teamed up to take on Jimmy Jacobs and Brodie Lee. That was pretty much the premise why they were taking on each other. Now, I didn't have no problem Jerry Lynn being on a main event of one of the shows. Brodie Lee's one of those guys I do not really understand why Ring of Honor wants to even have him in the company. Now, I understand where his positioning is in Ring of Honor right now. They got him in the Age of the Fall, so that's the best thing they could do with him. But I really can't take him serious. I mean, he looks just like the guy from My Name is Earl, and I've thought that ever since, I probably saw him first probably sometime last year, and I can't really take him serious. And plus, he's not that good in the ring either, and he's just a very typical big man for the most part, from what I've seen at least. Then the next matchup, before the next matchup, they went backstage for a Brent Albright promo. Main event of this show was Brent Albright and Claudio Castagnoli. And then the match after this was Sami Calliham versus Eddie Kingston. This was probably a match a lot of people were looking forward to seeing, especially I know a lot of fans of independent pro wrestling definitely were glad to see Eddie Kingston on a Ring of Honor episode on HDNet. And I can at least understand why people like Eddie Kingston. I don't really hate him as much as I used to. I'm starting to actually not mind him as much, but I don't think he's great. But I understand why people like him. It's due to the fact, he's great on delivering promos. Whereas Sami Callihan, I don't really understand why Sami Callihan is kind of like, one of those guys that people say, is a great indie star going right now. From what I've seen from him in IWA Mid-South, I haven't really seen much of why he is, so popular as far as the independent wrestling ranks go. And he's not a guy I would like to see in Ring of Honor at all. I'm hoping that only thing he does is be on these shows. And Eddie Kingston picks up the victory in this match after hitting the spinning back fist to Sami Callihan. Decent overall match. It probably was given about 5 to 6 minutes. Eddie Kingston got showcased pretty good, I thought. Then before the next match, they went backstage to a promo with Claudio Castagnoli, like the Brent Albright promo, building up to the main event with Claudio Castagnoli versus Brent Albright. Then they went in the studio with Dave Prazak and Mike Hogwood to do a little segment, an interview with Jerry Lynn, since Jerry Lynn just recently won the ROH World title, as far as the way he won it about a month ago, and this was the first interview that he's been given as the Ring of Honor champion. They did it in a way where they were acting like it was live via satellite, even though you pretty much could tell that it was just spliced in with a promo that he did. It was good to see him, doing a promo, and I do not really have a problem with him being Ring of Honor champion, just as long as they don't have him having too long of a title reign. And unfortunately, with Tyler Black recently getting injured, I was thinking that would definitely be the person to defeat Jerry Lynn, but now he's going to be out of action probably for a little time, so really going to be curious of who they have Jerry Lynn lose the title to. Maybe, Austin Aries or Bryan Danielson be the first ones to be a two-time Ring of Honor champion. That would be something good to see, since I like both of them anyway. If I had to choose between those two, I obviously would choose Bryan Danielson. Next, they had a matchup with Bobby Dempsey versus Orange Cassidy. This was just a very quick match, probably got about 20 to 30 seconds at best if it even got that. It was just a complete squash match. Bobby Dempsey came out there, just did all his stuff. Finally hit the Death Valley driver within 20-30 seconds of the match and beat Orange Cassidy. I'm glad it at least went this way because I definitely didn't want to see Bobby Dempsey out there wrestling a 4 to 5 minute match. They did the best call they could with this match, is making it as short as they possibly can. Then the next matchup was a tag team match with Rhett, Titus, and Kenny King teaming up versus Up in Smoke of Cheech and Claudio. This was a good overall tag match, a pretty enjoyable match. Wasn't given too much time, but it was given at least a decent amount of time so everyone could showcase well. Really like Kenny King a lot. He did some good stuff in this match. And Rhett, Titus and him worked pretty good as a tag team in this match. And Cheech and Claudio are a tag team that I would like to see more frequently used in Ring of Honor. I think so far, the talent on these episodes that aren't officially in Ring of Honor that I would like to see more on a regular basis or even on the regular roster is Kenny Omega and Cheech and Claudio of Up in Smoke. This is a good tag team match. The end of the match comes when Rhett, Titus and Kenny King hit a double team blockbuster into a powerbomb combination to the victory, and good overall tag team match. Then the main event was the Claudio Castagnoli versus Brent Albright match.
And this was a good main event. It was good back and forth action. These two really mesh well with each other. They have a good chemistry, and just an overall good match for a main event. Definitely a whole lot better than the previous week's main event with Jerry Lynn and Brodie Lee. This is kind of like a hard-hitting match. This was one of those matches that kind of had a little build to it, since these two have had matches that kind of had recently ended in controversial situations. And this match, yet again, kind of ends in a controversial situation where the end of the match is Brent Albright gets rolled up into a victory roll by Claudio Castagnoli, and Claudio Castagnoli pulls the rope, so he uses the ropes for leverage to pick up the victory. But overall, a good main event and good episode of Ring of Honor. Both of them were pretty good. Like I said, episode number 4, just check out, the Kenny Omega versus Austin Aries match. In this one, Claudio Castagnoli, Brent Albright was pretty good, and the tag team match was overall good. Now on to episode number 6, which is the episode that aired on April 25th, 2009. And overall, out of all 7 episodes, this is the best from top to bottom, and overall the best show overall out of all the HDNet tapings as far as the first 7 episodes go. And the opening matchup was Grizzly, Redwood, and Andy Right Leg Ridge versus the Dark City Fight Club. And more or less, this was just a squash match, but a good example of a squash match, tag team squash match. Kind of felt like, one of those old school squash matches in the old NWA and, Jim Crockett era. And it was just a, good overall squash match. And even though I don't really like the whole Grizzly Redwood thing, and Andy Right Leg Ridge, what I saw from him didn't seem like he was that good, but the Dark City Fight Club, they go in the ring and they look so dominating the way they're being booked that they make the match into probably something better than what it actually should be. And I really like this tag team, and this is a tag team that I think, unfortunately, one of the members, John Davis, he recently got injured. Ring of Honor is kind of plagued with a little injuries right now, with El Generico out injured, Tyler Black injured, and John Davis of this tag team, Dark City Fight Club, the other member, Corey Chavis. And Corey Chavis and John Davis pick up the victory for the Dark City Fight Club in here. Pretty overall solid tag team match. Then up next was a backstage promo for Bryan Danielson, a promo building up to the Tyler Black versus Bryan Danielson main event of this episode number 6. Then the next matchup was Alex Payne versus Nigel McGuinness, and this match just started right in the ring. Nigel got on the mic, cut a great promo, got a lot of heel heat from the crowd, and then the match started. This match was probably at best maybe 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, just like the opener, a squash match, but both of the squash matches made sense, and they at least did something good. The Dark City Fight Club made himself look dominating in that match, and Nigel McGuinness, at this point, he was still Ring of Honor champion, but they, since he was already in the ring and he didn't come out with the belt, they built it as, playing as this match, took place
after he lost the title, and he just wants, get revenge on someone. He just wants to take it out on Alex Payne. That's what the commentators kind of, made this match seem like. Then after this, they go backstage to a Tyler Black promo. This is a pretty good promo from Tyler Black. I do agree with some people. He does need to improve with his promos, but I think he's slowly starting to get a little better with promo ability, a whole lot better than what he was probably about a year ago. Still, he needs to improve a little bit with it. Then the next matchup was a tag team match with Chris Hero and Eddie Edwards teaming up to take on Kevin Steen and Jay Briscoe. This was a good tag team match. I really enjoyed it. It got a little more time than I was actually expecting. This match got about 10 minutes, which kind of shocked me that since I knew how long the main event went, it kind of shocked me that this match got 10 minutes. And it was a good tag team match here. Kevin Steen and Jay Briscoe worked pretty good with each other. Pretty much, they just the reason why they were working together, obviously, El Generico was out injured at this point, and Mark Briscoe was out injured, and they just wanted to both get revenge on Sweet and Sour Incorporated, so that's the reason why they were teaming up in this match. And Eddie Edwards got in some good stuff in here. Hero did some good stuff. And the end of the match comes when Steen pins Eddie Edwards after hitting the package pile driver to him. So Kevin Steen and Jay Briscoe pick up the victory. And then the main event was Bryan Danielson versus Tyler Black. This was just an excellent match between these two. I really enjoyed it, and probably like many others, they already knew. Probably most people before they even watched this already knew the outcome of this match. This match ended in a 20-minute time limit draw, and just very good match. Really enjoyed it. Good back and forth action, and so far the best match that Ring of Honor has had on HDNet. Just overall, really enjoyable match. A lot of good wrestling in this match. A lot of good mat work. A lot of good reversals. And these two really work against each other and have a good chemistry and mesh very well, and just always coexist very well in the ring with each other. And really, they've never put on a bad match that I really haven't liked yet. This match was probably not as good as some other ones, because I thought, it wasn't as good as the New Horizons match they had with each other, or a couple other ones from last year, but still an overall good match in for a match that was on a TV show, that wasn't on a pay-per-view or DVD. Very good match here. The end of the match comes when Bryan Danielson has Tyler Black into the triangle chokehold submission. Tyler Black picks him up, gets out of it, powerbombs Bryan Danielson into the turnbuckle, and kind of like he did at New Horizons, where at that pay-per-view, that's when he powerbombed him through it, and the top rope just broke off. It didn't happen this time, obviously, but that's the way the match ended. Both of them were laid out, and then after that, they shook hands. The crowd was chanting 5 more minutes, and overall, a very good match. So far, the best match on Ring of Honor HDNet TV, and just enjoyed this match a lot. I would probably give this match easily 3.5 stars, possibly 3 3/4. 3 3/4 might be giving it a little too much, but definitely 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed this match, and so far, Bryan Danielson, his 2 matches on HDNet have been very good. This match was good, and his match on episode 3 against Austin Aries was good as well. So definitely, they're doing a great job of showcasing Bryan Danielson on HDNet and showcasing why probably me and a lot of other people consider him one of the best wrestlers in the world going today. And then on to episode 7. This is the final episode out of these 4 that I'm going to be reviewing, and giving my thoughts on, more or less. The show started off with Ric Flair coming out there. Great moment to see him in a Ring of Honor wrestling ring. Then he got on the mic, talks to the fans, pretty much saying, "Oh, my career will never end. I'll never retire." So that was pretty funny to hear him say that. Then he introduced Jerry Lynn, the new Ring of Honor champion. This was the first time that actually he was Ring of Honor champion, and this was actually part of the tapings instead of like the last 2 weeks where they're already kind of referring him as Ring of Honor champion. This episode was taped with a batch of 5 other episodes that are going to be airing the next 5 weeks. I think the probably like the second week in April. I think that's when they aired them. Like they taped them around the 11th and 12th, something like that. And good moment here with Ric Flair out there, Jerry Lynn in the ring together. That was pretty cool to see. Then Austin Aries comes out there, interrupts it, and does pretty good promo saying that he's out there to look. He's out there to be able to go for the Ring of Honor titles. Pretty much saying he wants a match with Jerry Lynn at some point down the line, and then mentioned his match with Roderick Strong later on in the evening, and said he's pretty much, you know, the man in Ring of Honor, and he's the guy that's been around here for so long before Jerry Lynn even got there. So that was a good moment there with Austin Aries and Jerry Lynn in the ring, and Ric Flair as well. Definitely liked seeing that. And as far as even though I said episodes number 6 was my favorite one, as far as the format of the show, I think episode number 7. I think these next batch of episodes that are coming up are going to have a better format, because they had, you know, a little better format here where they had, you know, the main event get a very good amount of time. They had a little opening segment, and they got rid of that, you know, stupid ass thing where when they did the entrances for every wrestler, where they would do the 1, 2, and 3 with apostrophes and, you know, give information on the wrestler. So they got rid of that. That was good. They got rid of that and actually, you know, showed, you know, wrestlers' entrances on here. That was one problem I kind of had with it. And the one thing that they kind of did a little too much the first 6 episodes was the smack talk thing, where they had every wrestler cut a promo before every match, which kind of seemed pointless a lot of the times. Like in this one, they really only utilized that before the Brodie Lee and Necro Butcher match. And then the first match of the episode number 7 was Chris Hero versus Kenny Omega. This was a pretty short match. I was kind of wishing this would have been given a little more time. Kenny Omega loses this match to Chris Hero after Chris Hero hits the roaring elbow to Kenny Omega using the loaded elbow pad. It got maybe about 4.5, 5 minutes. I thought, you know, they should have had, you know, Kenny Omega get a little more time in there with Chris Hero, but it was a decent match for the time it was given. Then after this, I go backstage with a promo for Roderick Strong. Like I said, the main event of this episode was Roderick Strong and Austin Aries. That was pretty much the basis of this promo, talking about, you know, their past they've had with each other, Austin Aries and Roderick Strong. Then the next matchup was Brodie Lee versus Necro Butcher. And before the match officially started, they were kind of brawling outside the ring and up the rampway for about the first minute or 2 of this match before the match officially started. Then they got in the ring, and then it didn't last that much longer. Probably lasted maybe 2 or 3 minutes after the match actually officially started. And Necro Butcher picks up the victory after a roll-up to Brodie Lee. So both times Brodie Lee has lost in a singles match, it's been due to a roll-up. But it, I guess, kind of at least makes sense in both cases, since they obviously want to not make him look too weak, since he is kind of a big guy, you know. Especially with Jerry Lynn, it made sense. Necro Butcher, I think, you know, he should just beat the hell out of him and just did that. That probably would have worked out a little better. Then the next matchup was Eric Stevens versus Sara, and this was just a complete all-and-out squash match. Probably lasted maybe 30 seconds at best. Eric Stevens just came out there in full force, used all his maneuvers, then finally hit the Doctor Bomb to Sara for the victory. And then the main event was Roderick Strong versus Austin Aries, and this was a good match. And these two have had better matches in the past, but for a TV show, and I think they, you know, got at least a good amount of time. They got about 15 to 16 minutes, showcased themselves pretty good, and I like the new character that Austin Aries has been doing for the last couple of months. Kind of like a little version of Austin Starr a little bit, but it's done in a way where it's not really hurting the credibility of the wrestler that's actually, you know, doing the gimmick. So that's the one thing that I like better about this version of the way he's kind of utilized in the Austin Starr one. I like, you know, he's being a little, you know, very egotistical and arrogant. I definitely like that dimension of his character with Austin Aries. And this was a good main event between these two. They did some good back and forth stuff. But then Austin Aries won this match with the Brainbuster to Roderick Strong. So another solid episode of Ring of Honor. So definitely, I would say, if you haven't checked out any of these 4 episodes, definitely there's stuff to check out from them. Episode number 4, the main thing I would check out from there is Austin Aries versus Kenny Omega. Number 5, you had, you know, a good match with Rhett, Titus, and Kenny King teaming up, taking on Up in Smoke. And the main event of Claudio Castagnoli versus Albright was good as well. Overall, the one show I would recommend from top to bottom as far as the best show so far is episode number 6. And number 7 had, the great moment seeing Ric Flair at the beginning of the show, and it had a little better format compared to the first 6 episodes. And the main event with Austin Aries and Roderick Strong was good as well. So just want to come on here and give my thoughts on these 4 episodes. Hopefully this video hasn't gone too long. I try to make this as quick as I possibly can by going in and giving my thoughts on all 4 episodes.